Well, I guess I should start today's show by issuing an apology, shouldn't I? I didn't know you had that in you, Cookie. Cookie Carrasco had an absolutely fantastic start for the Yankees on Monday night. 5 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, 1 earned run, which was a home run to Bobby Witt Jr., 4 strikeouts, and kept the Yankees in the game long enough for them to go on their home run barrage. They say, what's that old adage in baseball, that solo shots aren't going to beat you? Well, 4 solo shots can beat you, and that's exactly what happened to the Kansas City Royals as Jazz Chisholm led off the home run party in the 4th inning with his 6th of the year, and then there was a 3-home run 5th inning. Trent Grisham, Ben Rice, shocking, Ben Rice is still hot, Austin Wells, and the Yankees end up winning 4-1 in this game. Strong performances in the bullpen by Fernando Cruz and that crazy splitter, Tim Hill, Luke Weaver, and a teensy bit of white knuckling from Devin Williams at the end, but he got the job done. Didn't allow any runs, 1 hit, 1 walk, got his 2nd save of the year, and the Yankees pitched a combined 2-hitter. 2-hitter, 6 total base runners allowed. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty good performance against a solid Kansas City team. And it was really nice to see them get a big start from Carrasco. I've been critical of this rotation, and I probably will be critical of this rotation again, but this was a big start for Carrasco because I think we were waging into territory here where there's going to be a little bit of a roster crunch at some point with the rotation, just based on, when Stroman's going to come back, Schmidt's going to be back in the rotation this week in the series. There was going to be a point coming up here toward the end of April where there might be an odd man out situation, and Carrasco looked like it was going to be the easiest guy to be that odd man out, but strung together a good performance here. Was really solid all night long, and then for the Yankees, they got contributions throughout their lineup, but again, we keep talking about it, and again, Wells homered, Jazz homered, Grisham homered, so these are not the big 3 that we've been talking about, but the big 3 also did come through. Ben Rice with a homer, Judge went 2 for 4, Goldschmidt went 2 for 4, so they got their big 3 in the lineup that's been just dominant for them so far this season, in Rice, Judge, and Goldschmidt, in addition to everybody else. A little bit of a lineup switch up today with Wells batting 3rd and Goldie cleanup, but it was really a strong day from everybody. A strong day in the field from Jason Dominguez. If you were watching the game, or I believe on Twitter, you could see there's like a compilation of the 6 plays that he had to make out there, including a couple really tough ones that he was able to make. He got defensively substituted. I mean, I guess technically he got pitch hit for, but he got defensively substituted for in the 9th inning, but looked pretty good in the field. It still doesn't look completely natural to him yet, but he's not making bad plays. Like, again, you're not expecting this season for him to be an above-average left fielder. But if he can just be average, I think that would be huge for the Yankees, and huge for him as well, as he continues to grow into his role as an everyday major league player. But really the story of this game was the pitching. The 4 solo shots are really nice, and obviously it's what got them over the top, but after some really questionable pitching performances lately, they got it from everybody, from Carrasco, Cruz, Hill, Weaver, and Devin Williams on the back end. And, it was good to see them put this all together in one game like this and be able to perform. And, as you start to look at what to expect from this team going forward, that's what you need. You need that consistency throughout all of your bullpen arms and throughout your entire lineup as they got in this game. And they're feeling pretty good now because, you improved to 9-7 and you get to put your ace on the mound on Tuesday. Max Fried going up against Michael Wacha, and Fried has been sensational. And I'm really excited to see what he's able to do in this game in his 4th start of the season. And so far, 17 innings, a 1.56 ERA, 21 strikeouts in those 17 innings, only 3 walks. Is really encouraging to see. And they're going up against Michael Wacha, who doesn't strike out a ton of guys. has walked, a decent amount. He has 8 walks in his 15 innings pitched. So this is another opportunity for the Yankees to force Walker to throw strikes, get this lineup in a good spot to take pitches, knowing that you're going to force Walker to come in the zone and then to have success with those pitches when you do get them in the zone. And they were able to take advantage of that in this game. And they put 4 balls over the wall, which is obviously very encouraging to see. But that wasn't all their offense. And I think that's also encouraging. That even though they weren't able to get multi-run home runs, they were able to get contributions from most of their lineup in different spots. And, what's the big takeaway to talk about now here on Tuesday morning? That this wave is going to be a wave for the Yankees. And this team will go as far as their pitching will take them. And the reason why I'm saying that, and I thought about this after the game, and I know it's easy to fall in love and to focus on your team hitting 4 home runs. Obviously, that's not an easy feat to do for anybody. And, if there are guys on base, this becomes a blowout game and it's all we're talking about. But I feel like as you sit here and listen to the show every day, hopefully every day, and thank you for doing that. I do really appreciate it as we're trying to grow this podcast in its first season of Bombers Beat. But as I do this show every day, it's cathartic in a way, but it's also very informative because you start to piece some things together. I sit here as I record this and I start thinking about conversations that you, the listener, and I have had throughout the season, throughout these first couple, 2.5 weeks or so. And think about what's a recurring theme. What do I feel like I'm saying a lot? Because it kind of tells you what the wave of the season is going to be and what you should focus on. And it feels like, aside from me gushing about Ben Rice or, Aaron Judge being a monster or Paul Goldschmidt looking like a really shrewd addition at first base after, missing out on some guys, Christian Walker doesn't come, they don't end up making a trade for Josh Naylor. There was a lot of hand-wringing about what this first base is. I mean, there's even talk about Pete Alonso for a half second. So there's a lot of talk about what they were going to do at first base. And to see him perform really well, he's looking like a great signing. We've talked about all those guys. We've talked about getting contributions from the youngsters. Talk about how great season that Trent Grisham had, and how aggressive he's been at the plate, and the fact that he is taking pitches when he needs to, but he is swinging more than he was before. And now you're looking at a guy that is providing valuable offense in addition to an elite glove, and how valuable that is. That's all great. But I feel like the day-to-day Yankees, the day-to-day element that is really going to make a difference, and also make a difference in the macro sense. Because yes, I know what's the old phrase, you're only as good as the next day's starting pitcher and whatnot. But you want to look at this from a macro sense, and both from the good and from the bad. And I feel like this team is going to be all about its rotation, because they continue to get solid enough performances from the bullpen, sometimes elite performances, but every once in a while they've had some issues, particularly early in the year with the home runs in those big games. But they seem to be getting their guys. Like Devin Williams being a little shaky aside, their big arms in the bullpen that they're relying on, the Weaver, the Hill, Leiter, those guys have been more often than not very good for them. The wave that you're riding is with this rotation. And it is why I felt so down after the Carlos Rodon loss, and you could hear that on the show, and why I'm just very giddy and surprised and excited after the Carlos Carrasco start on Monday. And because if they get 5 innings, 1 hit from it, they'll be in a lot of games. I'm not expecting that to be the norm for anybody, even a Max Fried. But if they get league average starting pitching, given their bullpen, given their line up with some of the new additions this year / young guys that have grown, I'm really encouraged by what this team can be. Their ability to be a playoff team or their ability to win the American League East is going to completely hinge on what this rotation is. And the rotation isn't complete yet. We'll see what Clark Schmidt looks like on Wednesday. We'll see what Luis Heel looks like eventually. Might be May, might be June, but eventually. We'll probably going to see them add a starter at some point. I know everybody's been looking at guys like, Sandy Alcantara or Dylan Cease or somebody of that nature, but I do imagine they're going to add a starter here eventually. But that's going to be the key to their season, because you're seeing enough games now, and again, it's a 162-game season. It is baseball. There's going to be stretches where the offense doesn't work. There are going to be stretches where the bullpen gets blown up. But I'm saying take a 2-3 steps back and look at this team from a 30,000-foot view as a whole from above. And I see a team that is a little different from last year's team, but in some ways the same in the sense that you have confidence in a lot of this lineup to find a way, particularly when the weather doesn't suck. You have confidence in this bullpen to find a way through late in the game. What the biggest difference is what your rotation looks like. And obviously, we would be having a very different story if the Yankees started the season with Garrett Cole opening day, then Max Fried, then Carlos Rodon, then Luis Heel, and then Clark Schmidt. It's a whole different conversation we're having right now. But that's not the case. That is not what the baseball gods gave you to start the year. So as you start to piece this together and as you start to look at potential additions down the road, that is going to be the key to the season. But you know what? In the meantime, I'm going to enjoy what they did on Monday night. I'm going to enjoy the cookies and dingers, because that's what won them the game, and that's what got them back on the winning track. And now they will get to put their ace on the mound to try to win their second game in a row and to win the series before they go out on a 7-game road trip. Now they still got the Wednesday game, but obviously you would technically win the 3-game series if you win the first 2 games. So they have a chance to win the series here before their final home game before a 7-game road trip, and feeling a lot better than I was the night before. Let's hope they can keep it up.